Hey friends, Mikester here, your humble servant, with the Holy Week update for First United Methodist Church of Fort Worth. And I am here with Mr. Mark, and Mr. Mark, we've got us some Holy Week, don't we?
Indeed we do, yes.
Beginning with Maundy Thursday.
Right, so Maundy Thursday, we'll have a dinner for children and families up in room 350. We start at 5:30. It's just late enough for folks to get off of work and early enough that we get things started early so that kids can get home in time for bed. And then we all come down to the chapel for a Maundy Thursday service. Maundy means from commandment or mandate. This is my commandment, that you love one another. And Jesus gave his friends a very special symbol for that, and that is the foot washing. And it's a really good way to show his disciples that carrying on the good work of the church means being a servant.
Yeah.
And so we see that. And then later on in the Maundy Thursday service, there is communion, where Jesus gave his friends a special meal of bread and wine to help his friends know that no matter what happens tomorrow, I will always love you. And so that's a wonderful service opportunity for our children and families. For many families, it's their first opportunity to experience communion together.
That's simply the best.
Yep. Yeah.
It is simply the best. And from that sweet moment, the next day we go to Good Friday.
We go to Good Friday. Once again, dinner at 5:30 up in room 350, and then the Good Friday service is in Wesley Hall. We really need that room to spread out. It's a pretty big service. And it's also known as a tenebrae service, which means service of shadows. And so we take that literally, and we show different shadow images up on the walls depicting different figures from that story. And we kind of imagine what it would have been like to experience that story the day of. And we try to be very respectful of children and their feelings. But we're also respectful of Scripture so that we don't gloss over details of that story, but we do them in a way that children and families can experience them together. Yeah.
And do you find yourself trying to explain to children where the name Good Friday comes from?
We do. There's a lot of, I think, misconception about why they call it Good Friday. And the way we approach it is good is a substitute for the word God. And it was God's Friday. And it was God's day. And no matter what happened, no matter how sad it was, God was always in control.
Yeah. And traditionally in the church, it would go from Good Friday to Holy Saturday. And in our church, Holy Saturday means Easter egg hunt.
Somehow or another it means Easter egg hunt. And so we go the next morning, 10 o'clock out at Lyle Lodge, which is only a 40-minute drive from here at the church. And it's beautiful out there. It's 3 hours we have Easter egg hunts, pony rides, petting zoo, face painting, games, cookie decorating, 3 food trucks, and that's all free. We love having people out there. So get there early. The close parking spots fill up very, very fast.
That's right. You're going to park in Azel otherwise.
Pretty much, yeah.
And anybody is welcome.
Anybody's welcome. Bring friends, bring family, neighbors. It's a wonderful community event. It's play in that whole healthy plate discipleship. It is very much play, and it's beautiful. We release butterflies, hundreds of butterflies, and they land on the kids, and it tickles, and it's beautiful, and we just love it. So come.
Oh, excellent. Well, speaking of coming, thank you so much for coming and being with us, Mr. Mark.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it.
Sure, thanks.
In addition to the family service on Maundy Thursday, we also offer another service on Maundy Thursday in the sanctuary. It begins at 7 o'clock. It takes you from the sanctuary to Wesley Hall to out in the garden. It includes communion, and it is simply beautiful. On Good Friday, we invite you to be with us at either noon in the sanctuary or 7 p.m. in the sanctuary. In the evening, Autoramas will be singing, and that service is so very meaningful. And then we're at Easter. On Easter this year, we offer 7 worship opportunities. It begins earlier than normal at 8 o'clock in the sanctuary. It's really neat when people come to the 8 o'clock service. You get to enjoy First Street Brass. They will be in every service in the sanctuary. So we go from 8 o'clock in the sanctuary to Disciple Church at 8:30. At 9:30, we have a service in the sanctuary, as well as the first of the gathering services. This one at 9:30 is in Wesley Hall, and there will be overflow in another space. At 11 o'clock, we have our third service of the morning in the sanctuary. And then the gathering will be worshiping together again, this time in room 350, and we culminate the morning with the 11:11 service in Wesley Hall. And it's hard to imagine, but in these 7 worship opportunities, we will have well over 3,000 people who will be on our campus worshiping together. And we do hope that you will be one of those people. And now, friends, let's talk about Easter bonnets. And we have an in-studio Easter bonnet correspondent. You may think it's the Mikester. No, he is not qualified for this. We need to turn our attention to the greatness of Elaine Johnson. Hey, Elaine.
Hi, Mike.
It is so good to see you.
Thank you.
Tell us about one of the biggest things on our staff for you is related to worship, right?
Yes, I am the worship assistant, and so most of the things that I do happen in the sanctuary.
That's
or
true, isn't it?
Behind the scenes, before we get to the sanctuary.
Much behind the scenes.
Yes.
But this is not a behind the scenes moment because you are wearing a beautiful Easter bonnet.
Thank you. This is a refurbished bonnet. It was my daughter's beach hat, and
nice.
I thought with Easter coming, I would refresh it and use it as an Easter bonnet.
Ooh, I like that. So you've brought in symbolism of refreshing and
Yes.
renewal.
Yes. In the Depression era, people didn't have a whole lot of things, and
Yeah.
so they, for Easter, would take out an old hat or an old suit, and they would add things to it to make it new, like Easter for Easter morning.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
It does.
So in addition to that tradition, the whole idea of an Easter bonnet, I guess we have Irving Berlin to thank for that, don't we?
Yes, he wrote a song called The Easter Parade, and it was used in a movie, and people would proceed down Fifth Avenue out of the Grand Cathedral on their way after church to Easter celebrations with their Easter bonnets.
Gosh, so imagine that in New York City, in the Depression,
Yeah.
you know, people that have used what they can, women in Easter bonnets and men in top hats.
Men in top hats and coats, little kids, little ones, medium ones, old ones, everybody had on something new for Easter.
That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the new year for the church.
Yeah, and that's been a tradition for a long time. And I know that we always talk about how much fun it is to see women on Easter wear Easter bonnets, isn't it?
I love seeing the women of the church, from the little ones all the way up to the grandparents that have their Easter bonnets on Sunday. You don't see that very much anymore.
No. It's special, it's fun. It's possible that there are some of us, and maybe even some members of Choral Union, that will count Easter bonnets,
There are some
right?
members of Choral Union that love to count the Easter bonnets on Sunday.
And we would like them to be busy this year on Easter, wouldn't we?
We would. That
So-
would be great.
We have an appeal for everyone. Wear your Easter bonnet this year. Have fun with it. Refurbish one.
Refurbish an old one or get a new one.
Exactly. But please do. Wear an Easter bonnet this year and have a good time doing it. And Elaine, this has been such a good time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very, very much.
You're welcome.
And that is all, friends. And yes, this has been your moment with Mike.